Okay, good afternoon everybody, and welcome to the last webinar before the summer break, which I'm happy to say have happened almost on a monthly basis now, where we're presenting details from different adoptions and pilot deployments of the Dynamic Data Citation Recommendation implementations. Today we're going to have a very exciting first-time presentation of a deployment for a file-based repository of NetCDF files, which supports quite complex queries, and which I think could act as a model for many other data centers that hold similar types of data. The data center that implemented the solution is the Climate Change Centre in Austria, and I'm very grateful to Chris Schubert, the director of the data center. He's going to give this presentation, this webinar, to us today. We'll right away start with the presentation, which is being recorded to be shared afterwards. If you've got any questions, please type them into the question box that you should find to the right on your control panel. And then after the presentation, we'll go through the list of questions and I'll hand you the microphone for more detailed discussions. And thus, without further ado, I'd like to hand over to Chris to start his webinar.
Okay, thank you, Andreas. It's a nice opportunity for us here to show you what we developed in the last month or in the last half year. Yeah, my name is Chris Schubert. I'm the head of responsible for the CCCA data center here in Vienna, and one moment. And of course, I'm not alone, and I have to thank also my colleagues and my team here in Vienna. Katharina, Georg, and Anja working with me, and of course team or the group in Austria. But this I will for this I will take a little bit more in the next slides. Just for an overview, I want to give you some details and features about the CCCA data center, the construct, and so on, and then I will go more in detail to this to our pilot, also the motivation, the situation, why we want to, or why it's important for us to have this data citation, and as well as the dynamic data citation implementation here. And in the last part, I will give you a live demonstration, and want to invite you afterwards also for a discussion and also for testing. The Climate Change Centre is a research network here in Austria, especially for climate research. We have 28 members now, universities and non-universities institutions, yeah, research institutions. And the Climate Change Centre is has 3 units. It's a coordination office, a service center. It's in Graz, and the data center here in Vienna. The data center, the CCCA data center, has a task or have to provide or should provide climate relevant information, data, algorithm, reports, scientific reports, and so on. And we want to have also, and we are trying to have or to deal with interoperable interfaces, yeah, to set up a proper data infrastructure. Long-term archiving are our issues for the next future, and we are also here for capacity building and give support to members, and not only on the national level, also to give in support for data sharing and how to share data. And we started, or the data center started beginning of 2015 with issues or with items like set up a team and think about the concepts, the architecture, and so on. And since last December, or in 2016, we are online in a kind of operational sense. Before we had an iteration phase, and we are dealing and in a kind of experiment phase with a big data package. It's called Austrian Climate Scenarios, and more details later on this. And with our functionalities, we are also listed as a research repository. You can see all criteria here under the DOI. Short, I will give you some impression about our architecture. So our system based on Linux cluster. We have a web server infrastructure, and from the software side, we are using the CCAN as a kind of document server, and we have also a connection to the Vienna scientific cluster, where is our storage and backup system. In the next few slides, I want to give you some overview about our features, what we have in the data center, or especially for the data portal. We are able to download and up and download large files. Here's the number 6 or 3 up to 16 gigabytes. We have also, for performance reason, not only HTTP interfaces, also FTP, SFTP is integrated, and an important or interoperable issue is solved with CSV. It's an OGC web catalog service, especially for harvesting data by using and supporting metadata standards. We have also in our metadata editor different profiles integrated, DCAT, this ISO 9150. It's more for geographical issues, and Inspire for the Inspire directive as well. A next important issue or feature what we integrated and solved is that we are able to provide for each data set an identifier and persistent identifier, plus also in text how to cite this data set. And our goal and near future goal is really that we are able really to connect or to cite the data from the publication, or from individual publication. And for this, the data citation and dynamic data citation is quite important for us. Other features are like shown here, simple visualization, previews. You can get also a feeling about the data set without downloading the data. And this is quite important for dealing with NetCDF data sets. We integrated the a thread server, so-called thread server. It's a thematic real-time environmental distributed data service. First, we started here to visualize the NetCDF data sets, to create some time series and so on. And a nice feature what is also provided and really helpful for our pilot is this software or web service, the NetCDF subset service. Now I will go describe you the our pilot. First, few words to our climate scenario data. What we have here in the data center and what we provide. We are not produced these data sets. You can see here the Met Office Austria, University of Graz, University of Salzburg created last year a high resolution data set for the Austrian climate scenarios, and the climate scenarios run up to 2100. These data sets also include, for these data sets, this consortium provides also fact sheets really to describe the data sets in a kind of narrative and more simple ways than only WARD data or NetCDF data for the federal states here in Austria and also for municipalities. Our motivation for this pilot was, of course, we have to store and supply these high-resolution climate scenarios for Austria. These are quite large files, up to 16 gigabyte big, and we have a lot of files. So we have the dataset was created by running 13 models with 5 meteorological parameters, also these emission or representative concentration pathways. We have 2 scenarios here, and a number around 20 climate indices, which are grouped also in monthly, seasonal, and yearly data sets. These climate indices, just an example here, could be or is, for example, a number of frost days, for ice days, or summer days, tropical nights, and so on. And also the data sets are running over 3 different time intervals. So in the end, we expected a number of files, and it's around 1,700. Actually, it's a little bit less. It's around 1,000 files, 1,100 files we have to deal here with within the data center, and it's quite important. For the users, for the researcher, really that we are able to create a subset, and a subset based on geographical and time range intersection, or intersection functions. And of course, we want to avoid redundant file storing and so on, to save this storage. And the most important point here was really to keep all information and all relation between the original source and related subsets, updates, and the versionings, and so on. And for this, we want to show you our solution. With the 14 recommendation of the dynamic data citation developed or created by Andreas and within the working group, here this recommendation was really were fitted also to our visions as part of to create a proper data management. The versioning timestamps were an argument for us. Of course, this assignment of persistent identifier and to store only the queries and make it executed again and citable. This was a kind of really clever approach that we want to use and want to implement. We started with this idea and we got in autumn 2015 in contact with Andreas and his team, the University of Vienna, the Austrian Institute of Technology, the RDA, in the frame of a project, an Austrian project, E-Infrastructures Austria, and then at the same time RDA came out with this recommendation, and in this springtime we were able really to have the first release of our solution, of our pilot as a web-based service. Short words or a few words to the NetCDF data. The NetCDF data format is really more than just a data format. It's really it's a data model. It includes the data sets itself and a lot of metadata, a lot of meta information, and it's a grid and raster oriented format, and it's used by a lot of or by a big community, and therefore there are a lot of web service interfaces like OpenDAP and application. The nature of NetCDF looks like this. We have in the data set we are able to describe the dimension. It could be a geographical dimension, and then also with here also showed in the Z dimension, we are able really, or here especially for our climate scenarios, we're using this Z dimension for a daily data set in the end. So, and as I said, we have a lot of attributes. It's called here attributes, but it's a lot of meta information. The dimension variables are or could be really standard conformal, and our pilot is working also on so-called standard conformal, CF convention conformal data set or NetCDF data. So here's the use case, and this is a kind of impression what I want to show you is, this is our daily work. We have a data set with a timestamp. It's quite clear, and also we are able to provide an identifier. Just a simple example here. Oops. But for each data set, or also research data, should be really corrected, should be updated, or able to be corrected, updated, and so on. And that's why we are able in our system here really to trace each update with a timestamp and with versioning or with a version number. And now the part of these query and to create the subsetting arguments. Here I used one example where I have to, or I want to have a kind of the maximum temperature and a geographical extent from the original scene or from one data set, and in the end we want to be able really to have an intersection in the geographical sense of this data set, and we want to use it as, or we be using this or as a subset. This subset will get a new identifier, a new PID, and also an own version number. And this query is stored or should be stored in a database form. Now let's have a look on our components, what we implemented here. First, we in our front end, we are dealing with a web server, CCAN web server, with a Python application server. And this is it's in bracket here. This is our heart. This is our data management system in the end, and of course to provide the persistent identifier, we have also implemented the handle net server. For NetCDF, we are using the SWET data server provided and developed by Unidata, and the nice tool for subset creating, it's called NCSS, the NetCDF subset service. So if you want to have a subset request, it starts within the CCAN next server, goes directly to the application server, and within the application server, permission check is running, and this subset, or to create a subset or a new data set, the arguments of the subsets will be defined within an URL. The data or this request or these arguments get an identifier, and also the landing page of the source information or of the source original resource. And it's also important, really, what I said before, to keep the relationship for the proper for the parent data set. From the web application server, the parameters go directly to the SWET server, and on the one hand, we are using SWET server for the WMS. It's a web map service to visualize this data set. Also, we have some. We are able to deal with some export functions. Of course, for the subset, we have this grid, but we are also dealing or able to deal with station point data sets. Time series are could be created here, and here we have some formats. NetCDF, CSV, XML, and WaterML for time series can be exported here. And the important issue for the recommendation, and this I want to discuss also with you later, is really that we are storing the URIs only, or the HTTP GET as a query. It means we have a structure or structured URLs, and this will be stored. And this is in the last process here, the user will get this subset response. The orange now shows a little bit or what we did here on this left side. It's we are using a redirect or redirect directly or direct communication from the thread server to the CCAN web server, just for performance reason at the moment. And here I will go a little bit into the detail what the NetCDF subset service is doing. Here's the structure, or you can see the structure of the URI. So where we have the data set and the query. The subset parameter used at the moment for us, it's a variable. It's a is the name of the layer, or the names of layer. Here in this row, we have this geographical extent, the so-called bounding box, and also this start and time frame. At the moment, we limit the subsets on 5 years interval. It's also for performance reason, and we have some open issues, and to open or unlimit this time range, we have to implement also a kind of job and notification service here. And the last parameter to accept is to specify the format. And in the so-called query store here in CCAN, we have on the one hand, of course, this identifier and the structured URL with the source of the original data set, with the geographical extent, the description or the argument of which format, and the variable like temperature here is stored in the URL. Now I will go directly to the demonstration, to the live demonstration. Hopefully it will run. So this is our access point, data point, CCCA point, AC point, AT. You have to be logged in to use this subset creation tool. But for this, we are not really restricted. So it's an open portal. It's an open tool, and everyone is able to register there. So I will start here with this ÖKS. It's called these Austrian scenarios, and you can see it's an bias corrected or Eurocodex model for temperature, and we have a lot of parameters here, different emission scenarios, 4.5, 8.5, and so on, ensembles, different ensembles. It's quite complex, and here I have to be really also self-critical to provide this information. It's not really only this list. We have to work on it. But nevertheless, it's another issue. I go directly to these files and have here in short view a visualization made by the SWET server, and I can also run time or the time flow here, and you can see it changed. Yeah, and we have the data each day, and here we are also able to visualize some time series for point stations, or and also able to have some points here. We have also implemented here a version, this version number. So we are using a showing per default the version or the latest version. It's now here the version 2, but you can also get the whole history, and also this first version from last year. And what is also, it's not here. Oops, sorry. On this layer. But we are really happy that really we are that at this time, so also in June, or 2 days, 4 days before, we got really a real update because of a calculation error which was identified within another project, and then the consortium were able really to create or to correct this data set. So we have here a real history and a real needed versioning. So, but let's start to the subset with the subset function. If you logged in, you are able to create this subsets. Here you have to choose a layer, and really simple to choose a bounding box with this tool. You can also have you are also able to show the to choose this the temperature, the time range. So we can start today, and as I said, it's limited to 5 years. If I extend this, we got an error. So, but I do not try this. So, yeah, I'm able to choose a format, and then a question here. It's quite important. If you just want to download this data set, then you, or this created subset, then you can download this. But if you want to create a new package within our data portal and share this subset, or keep the subset within to get an identifier and share this new data set within a group or for your publication, then you have activate this yes button, and we will be able to create a new version, or really a new subset in the portal itself. And then I will go here, RDA demonstration is so-called my package title, or my data title, and I choose my organization. CCCA is here, and we want to have this data set as a public data set, not as a private data set. So, and then with submit. You can see here, it's this is a subset from the original data set. We have this version, it's created today. And we are also able really here to show the relation from the versions. So here we choose the latest version, the version 2 from the original version. And we have here our subset version number 1. If you want to go or to use an older version, and this could be also quite possible because you've published or work on an older version 1, you're also able to create with the same query a new subset version with this button here. And also this citing text was automatically created. Here we have to work on this really to better describe the subset parameters here. It's just a static example, but this has to be really dynamical here. But yeah, we are working on it. So now we have what we do not have at the moment, but I will go also for this, is really we are not, or at the moment we are not able to visualize this. That's why I will download this resource directly. Here you can also see the query parameters here inside the URL. What we have, and this URL is stored in the CCAN store, in the CCAN data store here. And we have all information what we queried from the original data set. Now I will download this data set, and with this download it takes a little bit time because the query is running and the real downloadable subset will be created. So it's it's still running. So we found this. Yeah, but nevertheless the resource is here. Yeah, and I can store this subsetted NetCDF file. And then I switch to an just to show you really that it's not a fake application. Was it this? I don't. P2. Okay. So we take this. Yeah. And create the plot of this parameter. So, and it's not really nice to see here, but zoom in. So here you can see our new subset. So yeah, it's here in the center. Okay, perfect. So this is a subset here, and it contains all the data set and these all the days here until 2022. We choose, or I choose, yeah. So. Yeah, this was an example, and here I will go back to this, to my slides. And here I want to have also communicate also our open issue that we still have, and what we not really solved with in these or for the given recommendation. It's really this set verification with an hash key or with the checksum. This is still needed in an automatical sense. Also the stable sorting, we didn't touch it yet. And yeah, this recommendation 9, it's yeah, for the query store. So here I'm a little bit unsure if it's really in this sense what the working group and also, or if we are in line with this recommendation, if we are only storing URLs with all these arguments which are needed. So yeah, here just an our points. Yeah, we didn't have these hash key in an operational sense that we have. Also, we need to keep or to trace redundant queries. Also in inclusive with some variation about the time or the geographical extent, and here I guess this is if we should implement a kind of buffer or whatever, so that we do not have to count with the with numbers behind the comma, and also to unlimit the time range. Now it's 5 years, as I said. We have to also to install some drops and notification, because it takes really time, perhaps 5 minutes or whatever, and we want to avoid this in time overflow in the browser via the web server. So that's why we have to also implement these drops and notification service. The subset visualization is needed, and also what you saw probably now in my presentation, the file name and the download resource name is not really coherent and not the same, and this we want to also make it better and implement this. So, and for this I have to really thank you for your patience, and yeah, if you have questions, if you have comments, please.
Thank you very much, Chris. This was a fantastic presentation. Thanks specifically also for the detailed technical descriptions of how this service was implemented, and the demo, which I guess showed very nicely how the process was running. If anybody has any questions, could you please just in your control panel raise your hand and type the question into the question box, and then I can open the mic for you so that we can start a discussion. And I've got the first question by Maggie. Have you thought about creating website user profiles? I'll switch the mic open. Maggie, you should be able to...
Hi. Hi, Chris. Can you hear me?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for a very, very interesting and very inspiring presentation. So I work for a research infrastructure called ICOS, which is dealing with the greenhouse gas data, and we are also having a NetCDF component of our data files, and this was providing us with some really good hints on how we can move on here. So I'll be in touch later, I think, with some more detailed questions. Right now I was just thinking, for our web portal that we are setting up, we have where we're starting to implement a system with where users can log in and register, and as in your case, you needed to log in only to do the subsetting, I understood.
Yeah.
But in any case, just to allow users to save preferences, for instance, their bounding box, my favorite bounding box, and things like that, because then it would be easy to reuse. Because I'm guessing a researcher who might be coming back frequently to this downloading different variables or different time slices, etc. It would be convenient for them to be able to reuse information they have already entered.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. We thought also about this to provide also a kind of individual template for a query. Yeah, I forgot this to write it down in our open issue, because this is really important, because yeah, you have, as researcher or whatever, you have your specific, probably your specific area of interest. Yeah. And then to keep it for all, or for the different models and for the different data resources, this I believe too, it's a necessary feature what we have to provide. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any further questions? While people are thinking and typing, just a quick comment, Chris, because you pointed to initially in your citation where you had in square brackets this indicate subset used as one of the open issues that you're still addressing.
Yes.
And I'd just like to point out that the next webinar that we are planning to hold in September after the summer break will be given by Gian Maria Silvello, and he has developed an approach to automatically determine the strings basically that should go. I'm simplifying now, but he can give you much more detail on that later on. But basically simplifying the automatic string generation, both for data sets like these, but also for relatively complex hierarchical data sets. So I might get you in contact with him even before the webinar, so he can provide you with some input on how he's solving this issue.
Yeah, that would be perfect, because we were also really discussing about this, and also not only for the citation text, also for the name of the subset, yeah, for the file name in the end, and this. We did it now. Here you can see really as an open issue and with a static information text. But yeah, this we have to solve, and that would be a nice opportunity to have this discussion.
So I'll get you in contact with him, and as I said, we will likely have his webinar in September after the summer break.
Perfect. Yeah.
Now, a question that I have from the working group perspective is, I know it will be hard to separate for you because you've both set up the citation service while implementing and providing the entire service infrastructure, but do you have a rough idea, rough estimate of what the additional effort was required to implement this dynamic subset citation service as part of the service infrastructure?
In the end, okay, we use this nice SWET server and the subset service, but the important task what we had to implement is really this versioning task, this relation task. This is a kind of really new development from the scratch what we did here.
And can you give any indication or any rough estimate in terms of person months or?
Yes, let's say we were. I'm not 3 months, 4 months for the whole thing. Also, it includes also the SWET service and implement the SWET server. But here for the versioning, yeah, 2 months for one person. It was.
That's good to hear, because that's roughly in line what I've heard from other pilots who were implementing this citation solution, which for us is a valuable indicator on whether it's of a magnitude of effort that's reasonable to be invested into providing such a service. So it does not require whatever 2 or 3 person years of effort to design such a solution. So I'm actually quite happy about this. This is good to know.
Yes.
Are you worried about any? And also I'm very happy to see this, since you just have it on the screen here. The opportunity to create another subset from it based on a different version of the original data,
yes,
which is actually brilliant, because that's one of the things that we came around in the working group later on after the recommendations were actually designed, that this is actually a nice feature, especially for future use. So once the data set gets whatever, again, error corrected, recalibrated, and so on, that one can easily create an according semantically identical subset on the, in that case, the newer version of the data. So this is really a nice feature that you've added here.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, it's really it came from practical requirements in the end, yeah, and to have it here, and yeah, it's. And I was also not really sure because it was not really in part of the recommendation, yeah, and yeah, but it's just a test, and we tested here, but you can also see it's a little bit slow at the moment, yeah. but okay, now we have it.
I think that's fantastic. So basically, it's not part of the recommendation because it's not something that was specifically designed to be available, but which the approach of storing the query basically facilitates as a feature.
Yes. So, yeah.
That was really nice. We also had some questions concerning the other recommendations on the metadata.
Yeah.
So basically, the recommendations are on purpose again quite abstract in this respect, because what kind of metadata needs to be stored will very much depend on the setting that that the data center is in. So the examples that we discussed beyond what you have currently stored as the query was issues such as the user name or location as part of the metadata. We had cases where license information was stored as part of the subset metadata, which you as here you've got in here as well.
I can show you this example. And within the CCAN, the structure of data sets and resource is a little bit different than other web services as I knew before. So we have here some metadata information about the resource itself, and the resource is a part of this data package what we created. And this new subset here is inherited all metadata from the original data set. So the only difference is here that the organization, because I created the or my institution or institute created this subset, and I'm listed here as subset creator, but not as author and not as maintainer or metadata point of contact. So, but all other information or meta information are taken from the original source, and now we come to this special extent. This a spatial extent here. I'm not really sure that we solved this issue, because here I guess this bounding box is still the original one. Yeah, and here we have to work also on it. Yeah, but here the start and ending date, it's directly taken what we choose. Yeah, and everything what we have here, it's an ISO and Inspire conform and metadata profile what we have here inside. Yeah, but it's really taken from the original data source. Expect our parameters what we created in the subset.
This is fantastic. I guess this fits very nicely to the recommendations.
Yeah,
really impressive.
So, and we have also a limitation, and this I didn't show from at the moment, or I don't know if it's really necessary. The user doesn't have any or is not really able to create a subset of a subset. Yeah, so this is not possible here. If,
This makes basically sense, because it would mean that you would have stacked queries to be executed.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, you can apply a trick or whatever. You can download this resource and push this resource or data set as a new data package. Yeah, then you are able really to create a subset again. Yeah, but really this create a subset of a subset, it's for the moment it's not possible, and I do not have also any idea if it's really practical needed.
Yeah, I mean that's something that depends on the user community, but I guess even if it is needed, it could be implemented as creating that query again against the newer subset query against the original database.
Yes, yeah, 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 exactly, yeah.
So I guess technically it could be implemented if there is really a need to add this feature.
Yes, yeah.
That's brilliant. Are there any further questions by anybody? I'm just taking a look at the chat window and at the questions windows, all the other points that I have in front of me. If there aren't any further questions, then I'd like again, Chris, to thank you very, very much for your presentation. And we will again share, if that's okay with you, the recording of this webinar and the slides via the webinar homepage.
Yeah. And
with that, I would like to wish everybody a happy and pleasant summer for those in the Northern Hemisphere. And I hope to hear you and see you back in September for the next webinar that we'll announce it via our webpage as soon as the date has been fixed. And I'm looking forward to seeing all of you again at P10, Plenary 10 of the RDA in September in Montreal. With that, I'll say again, thank you very much, Chris. Thank you very much, everybody who's participated in this webinar. And yeah, talk to you, see you soon. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you.